Hey, if you're looking to start an Airbnb business or you're already in the Airbnb business and you're looking at a new property that you want to understand how well this new property might be able to cash flow and really can it provide a return for you over a period of time, well, you've come to the right place because we have developed this Airbnb or short-term rental property cash flow calculator tool. I'm going to show you how it works and how you can enter in a handful of assumptions and then really get to see a good picture of how you can expect to perform. But first, my name's Adam Huxama. I'm the co-founder of Projection Hub, and we've helped tens of thousands of entrepreneurs over the last decade create financial projections for potential investors and lenders and just internal planning. And so today we're focused on this Airbnb cash flow calculator, and I have linked to this calculator. We can go and grab that in the description of the video below, and then you'll be able to use it and follow along. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. So we've got some default data or some kind of initial data in here, but what we're going to do is we're just going to walk through and kind of fill this out together. So starting with our income assumptions, what I would always recommend is going to airdna.com, and you can put in any property's address and it will show you what they think you'll be able to generate in terms of a daily rental rate. And then you can also get from them an occupancy rate as well. And so let's just say we think we're going to generate $78 a day. That's what AirDNA says. Maybe that's a weekday rate, and then a weekend rate maybe $125. And we think that we're going to be able to increase these rental rates over time, each year, and maybe 10% is a little aggressive. Let's do 7. We think we're going to be able to increase these rates 7%. And then we also charge. This is the cleaning fee that we charge to our customers per stay. So let's say we're charging $100 per stay for a cleaning fee. And we also expect to increase that cleaning fee by 8% a year. Now we can put in our occupancy rates on weekdays and weekends separately. So we might think, okay, AirDNA might tell us, okay, overall we think your occupancy rate is going to be 58%, but we know that the rate that we can earn on the weekend is different than the weekday, and so in the occupancy is going to be different as well. And so we can put in occupancy rates that we expect on weekends and weekdays separately. We can also increase the occupancy rate. So this could be the starting out occupancy, but maybe as you build up your good reviews and improve the property, you might be able to increase those occupancy rates. And so we can put in an annual increase in occupancy as well. Now, just to keep in mind, the way we have this calculated is that you can increase by, let's say, 10%, but you're not going to be able to go over 100% occupancy. So the model, the tool will not let you go over 100% for either weekends or weekdays. So those are the income assumptions. Now onto the expense assumptions. First, we're going to have a number of monthly expenses. And actually, because these assumptions here, these expense assumptions are in blue, you can actually change these, the names of these to whatever monthly expenses you have and want to list here. So these are just some examples. Let's say we're going to spend $75 a month on lawn care, landscaping, snow removal. Maybe utilities, we're paying utilities. That's probably going to be, let's say that's $500 a month. Say we're paying $75 for security, maybe $125 for internet. Maybe we have to pay for parking if we're in the city. Let's say it's $100 a month for that, and $100 a month for insurance, and maybe $100 a month for other costs. And then you have the ability to add an inflation rate for those expenses, because over time these expenses are probably going to go up. You could also put a negative here if you think these expenses are going to go down. You could do that as well. And then Airbnb host fee. So Airbnb charges, I think right now, a 3% fee And, of course you can put that in there or change it if you want, if you think it's going to go up or change or down. And then you can also add taxes as a percentage of revenue. So if you have to pay, in your jurisdiction where you have to maybe pay a hotel tax as an Airbnb host or some other specific type of tax, you can add that here. All right, now we also have some per stay expenses. So we've got expenses to clean the place each time somebody stays. But in order to calculate the number of times number of stays in a month, we need to know the average number of days per stay. So we're saying 3 days per stay. I might just do that. Days per stay. And then the cleaning cost per stay is $50. And we think we're going to spend $10 on consumable items, restocking the snacks or toilet paper and paper towel and that sort of thing for each stay. Now for the property assumptions, let's say this property is $250,000, and let's say we own the property and we have a monthly mortgage payment of $1,000 and a property tax bill of $100 a month. And then let's say we expect the property value to increase by 8% per year. Now, we don't rent the property, so since up here we're saying we purchased the property, so what we can do down here is just put 0, because you don't have to pay mortgage and rent, right? Now, if you're renting the property, you'd want to put zeros up here and put in your rental cost if you're actually renting the property yourself. And then here we have the ability to add property management costs. So you might use a property management company to manage your property, and they may have a kind of a fixed fee per month, a minimum fixed fee per month that they charge, plus a commission, a percentage of the bookings that they would charge. And so you can put those numbers in there. Now, they may be taking care of really everything for you, and so you may have no need for any other staff. So this is kind of the same as either you're renting or you own the property. In the same way, you're probably either using a property management firm or you have internal staff doing the work, so you probably don't need both of these numbers. So I'm gonna assume that we're using property management. But in the example of, let's say you're not using property management and you have a team that, or a part-time employee or something, or maybe a kid, your kids are helping you clean and helping you do that sort of thing, and you're paying them an hourly rate, you can put that in here and the number of hours that you're paying them per month. All right, and then based on all of that, all of those assumptions now kind of culminate down here in a little cash flow tool. So we'll see our total revenue based on those projections here, and our total expenses. And we're going to see that based on what we put in there, our cash outflow is quite a bit higher than our total revenue. So we see our cash flow here is negative. But what we'll notice is that our change in property value, this is our change in property value because remember up here we said expected annual change in property value is 8%. And so we expect that change in property value here. And so our cash flow plus our change in property value is positive. But based on the numbers we have in there right now, we're needing to put cash into this business, into this Airbnb every year. And so, keep that in mind. So when you finish this, what you're really looking for, what you really want to see is that your cash flow positive, right? So just to show you some examples then of what we could do to change things and see how things would change. Let's say we can really ramp up these rents. And we think we can actually do 125 on the weekdays and 185 on the weekends. So let's just see what increasing the rates will do for us. So now you can see cash flow is less negative, but we're still negative in those first couple of years, and then we swing to a positive. And one of the key things here, you can see what are some of the major expenses. Well, that the property management is a significant piece here. So if you are doing this yourself, if you're doing a lot of the work yourself, you're going to get to be able to keep this, and that would swing you to probably a positive cash flow, right? The other thing to mention is that there are a number of these, there are at least some of these monthly expenses. Like you may be doing the lawn care, landscaping, and snow removal yourself. You may also be doing the cleaning yourself. And so let's just say this is 0 because we're doing this all ourselves. And let's say the cleaning, there's no labor cost for the cleaning because I'm doing it myself. And then let's say we're going to manage the property ourselves. So there's no property management fees either. We're handling all of that. And now what you'll see is that we are positive cash flow and at a pretty good rate here. And then with the addition of the change in property value, the cash flow plus change in property value is quite positive. So that's what you're going to want to do, and kind of go through these different exercises until you can make sure, hey, does this property actually make sense for us? And the big things that you're going to want to make sure is that you're not overly optimistic in what you can charge. So use that airdna.com to find those estimated occupancy and daily rates. Would be really important. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, so this is really a tool for just one property. Now, if you have more than one property, we have a link here to a premium template that we've developed that's a bit more sophisticated, and I'm going to show you real quick some of what's in here. So this is really a full-fledged financial model where if you're operating, more at scale, you have multiple properties, multiple units, all on short-term rentals. You can see what that would look like, and so you really have the ability to do a full-fledged financial model here. And so I'll just show you down here how you're able to add, instead of just that one property that we added, you're able to add multiple properties. We've got room for 20 or 30 properties here. And then within each property, you can add the purchase price plus the renovation costs. You can add what month you're going to purchase it. Then you can add the financing associated with that. So how are you buying it? Are you getting a loan? You can also see here, this option is we want to lease the space. So you can either purchase the property or lease the property. And you'll be able to put in a monthly lease payment, an interest rate if you have a mortgage on the property, and then the term of the mortgage as well, 360 months for a 30-year if you're able to get that. And then once you come over to our input revenue tab, what you'll be able to do, it'll pipe in those properties, but you're actually also able to say how many units does each property have. So you might buy a duplex and have 2 Airbnb units in one property, so you can get that customization in there. You can put in what you expect to be able to rent per unit at 100% occupancy, and then again, fill out your vacancy rates, your monthly costs that we were looking at a moment ago, things like utilities, insurance, maintenance, property taxes, so on. And then you'll be able to enter in your all of your operating expenses. And what's really cool about this is you can enter in those expenses on a fixed dollar amount. So it could be, this expense is $500 a month for the business, or on a per property level. So maybe something like lawn care is on a cost on a per property level. And then there's a per unit level. So you might have an expense like, I don't know, internet is probably not a good example. You probably would have internet to the entire building and kind of split that between the two. But if you had expenses that are on a per unit level, you can do that as well. Or you can have an expense that is just a percentage of revenue. So that would again be like the property management company that's just taking a percentage of the total bookings, is what you're able to enter in there. So, and then you can also add a salaried position. So if you have a part-time property manager, you can add their salary in here, or, maybe you have multiple employees if you have a true, Airbnb empire here. And so there's a lot more detail you can provide here. And you can ultimately, this is the kind of thing that if you're trying to raise some significant money from investors or lenders, this is the type of financial model you're probably going to need to put together that really gives them everything they need to know. It gives them a full cash flow statement for 5 years, a full true income statement, and a 5-year balance sheet, as well as an income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet for 5 years broken down by month. So you even get the monthly detail here as well, along with a number of charts and graphs. So those are our 2 different Airbnb tools. We'll link to this premium template in the video description as well. And we'd love your feedback. We'd love your comments. So leave us some comments in the video below, and we'd be happy to try to answer any questions you might have, or reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com, and we'll see what we can do to help. Best of luck. Thanks.